Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Apparently, Marvel has just fired Jonathan Majors within like an hour of me posting this video. I waited a little while to see if we could get some more news or some follow-ups from some of the trade magazines that were reporting on this, but it does look like he is out at Marvel as Kang the Conqueror, or variants of Kang just in general. I know there's a ton of questions about what happens now, like what is going on behind the scenes, what went down, so we'll try to break everything down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. It is just the beginning, like this is a very developing situation. He's been in the middle of a court case right now against the person that accused him of abuse. He was just found guilty by the court, and now obviously he's going to be filing appeals. But even if he is able to appeal and clear his name over the next couple of years, it doesn't really matter for his future at Marvel. Like Marvel essentially fired him, and that's the end of the story for them. My theory right now is that Marvel probably decided to fire him a long time ago, like much earlier this year, and just did him a solid by waiting to announce it until his verdict was announced. Like even if he had been found not guilty, they probably still would have fired him. The announcement about him being fired came like literally minutes after the guilty verdict was announced, so it just lets you know that Marvel had their fingers on the firing trigger. Like they probably already made their decision a long time ago, like they'd already had all those meetings behind the scenes, and they were just waiting to hear the verdict to actually announce that they'd fired him. So it wasn't like there was a chance that he could stay on if he was found innocent. They still probably would have moved past him and found a way to recast the actor or just completely move past the Kang concept in general and use a completely different villain for Avengers 5. A lot of people have been pointing to the example of Terrence Howard being recast from the first Iron Man movie as Rhodey with Don Cheadle's character when we got to Iron Man 2.
Didn't expect to see you here.
Look, it's me. I'm here. Deal with it. Let's move on.
I just
Drop it. All right.
I know there's a bunch of big questions, like what is Marvel actually going to do? Are they just going to recast the character? Are they going to decide to not do Kang Dynasty and just do Avengers 5 as Secret Wars, like skip straight to Secret Wars? It seems like most of the people that are reporting on him being fired by Marvel are saying that they're just going to recast and there'll be a different villain in the Council of Kangs, the different Kang variants during Avengers 5, but the Council of Kangs will still be the main villain of Avengers 5. If they got to recast him, there are a number of viable options, like you could bring in Denzel Washington, is just another version of Kang the Conqueror. You could literally pick anybody that you want. They already set up the whole concept of variants during Loki Season 1 and Loki Season 2, and we'll see more variants during Deadpool 3. Marvel also recently hired Michael Waldron to rewrite Avengers 5. He's a former Rick and Morty writer who they had write Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and Avengers 6 Secret Wars. They'd previously hired Jeff Loveness to write Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty. He's another Rick and Morty writer, like Marvel's been stealing a bunch of Rick and Morty writers. Jeff Loveness also wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. He wrote that Council of Kangs post-credit scene setting up Avengers 5, so it is possible that Marvel had been spending the last few months planning on Jonathan Majors being fired, and they hired Michael Waldron onto Avengers 5 in order to course correct for the recasting. And remember, that's not a recent thing, like that happened a while ago. They hired him on a while ago, so it does sound like they planned to course correct from Jonathan Majors a long time ago. What are they going to do now? Like previously, the reports had been that they would do Avengers 5 as Kang Dynasty. The new version of the Avengers would form in the main 616 universe. They would fight the Council of Kangs. They would lose, but then another Kang variant would surface, kill the Council of Kangs himself. Like, who can kill the Council of Kangs but another Kang? Then that new version of Kang would become the main villain, like a Beyonder variant of Kang during the Secret Wars they would do for Avengers 6. But then after all the problems with Jonathan Majors started happening earlier this year, and there was a weak response to Kang the Conqueror just in general during Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, I would say Jonathan Majors was actually pretty good in that movie. The material that he was given was not that great though. Had they given him a better ending, like a better script just in general, the reception to his character probably would have been way better. Because he was great during Loki Season 1 as the He Who Remains variant of Kang, and he was great during Loki Season 2. So I don't think it was the Kang character that people had problems with. I think it was just the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania movie just in general. Personally, what I think Marvel should do is just do Secret Wars as a two-part movie. So instead of doing Avengers 5 as Kang Dynasty, they just do it as Secret Wars Part 1, and then the original Avengers 6 as Secret Wars Part 2, even if they want to change the title for Part 2. They literally did that same thing for Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Originally, if you remember the title card for that, like years and years ago, originally it was just called Avengers Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2. It's literally probably going to be the same situation for Avengers 5 and Avengers 6. It'll just be Secret Wars broken into two big stories. That's probably the real reason why they had the original writer for Secret Wars do Avengers 5 as well, because they just wanted to expand the Secret Wars story and make it a two-part movie. But after all those problems started happening earlier this year, Jonathan Majors was accused and that whole court process started with him. It sounds like Marvel pivoted for Avengers 6 and wanted to move past the whole Kang character. Like they'd still plan on doing Avengers 5 as Kang Dynasty, but they wanted to do Secret Wars with a completely different villain. That's where all the Doctor Doom or God Emperor Doom rumors started. It sounds like regardless of what they do for Avengers 5, unless they just straight skip to Secret Wars, they will use a completely different villain than they planned before as the main villain of Avengers 6. I already did a much bigger video about them introducing a version of Doctor Doom in the next couple of years. They still have till 2027 till they plan to release Avengers 6 Secret Wars, unless they change things and make Secret Wars Avengers 5. So they still have several years to figure out what they want to do with that movie. Here's the thing though, this is why Marvel is getting down to the wire, why they'll probably announce the recasting pretty soon or whatever they wind up doing with Avengers 5, because if they want to release that movie by May 2026, they have to start rolling cameras by the end of next year, which isn't that long. It's not as long as it seems. In fact, if you don't remember the behind the scenes, the making of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, some of the visual effects on these big Avengers movies take up to 4 years to finish. No joke, they actually had to start working on the visual effects for the final battle in Avengers Endgame 4 years before they released the movie back in 2015. That means right now, Marvel probably knows what the final battles are going to look like during Avengers 5 and Avengers 6, and they already have concept artists and visual effects artists starting to work on those battles, and the characters in them are the only things that are going to change. Like, they might decide they want to use slightly different characters, and those are the only things that they'll wind up swapping, but like the giant overarching big battles won't change that much. So that's why Marvel was getting down to the wire trying to figure out what they were going to do about Jonathan Majors, either recasting or going with a completely different villain that had nothing to do with the concept of Kang. And here's the thing about that too, a lot of you probably realize they used the ending for Loki Season 2 Episode 6 in that finale to basically give themselves a couple different outs if they decided to pivot completely on the idea of Kang or just simply recast. During the Loki ending, they established God Loki's powers and control over the multiverse. He had the ability to manipulate timelines, like he argued with Mobius, how do you know what to change, what to control, what to mess with? Meaning that he did have the ability to mess with the different timelines as much as he wanted. So Marvel essentially was giving themselves an option to have Loki be the one to deal with all the Kang variants, and they also set things up inside the TVA to explain that their new mission was dedicated to finding and capturing all the other Kang variants themselves too. So it'd be just as easy, option 2, for Marvel to say that the TVA took care of all the Kangs if they totally want to swerve on Avengers 5 being Kang Dynasty and just want to go to a completely different villain. Let me know in the comments if they do want to just get rid of the whole concept of Kang, all the different Kang variants, the Council of Kangs, by the end of Avengers 5. Who do you want to be that main villain of Avengers 6? They could either do a straight-up version of the Beyonder that is like an actual Beyonder and not just another Kang variant, or they could do God Emperor Doom because he was the main villain of the more recent Secret Wars. Right now, it seems like the MCU movie version of Secret Wars they're going to do is going to be based on both the 1980s version and the more modern version of Secret Wars, which are completely separate plots. During the original 1980s Secret Wars, it was a Beyonder character who brought a bunch of the different Marvel characters to Battleworld to fight each other for his own entertainment, basically. If you never watched Spider-Man, the animated series back in the 90s, it's a great series. I would recommend checking it out. They actually did a version of that Secret Wars storyline during that series. The newer version of Secret Wars was a much bigger story and involved a bunch of the different Marvel characters, both heroes and villains, fighting a bunch of the Beyonders' race of characters until Doctor Doom wound up being the one to defeat them, taking their power to make himself God Emperor Doom, and as the multiverse was collapsing on itself, he took all the remnants of the surviving universes and combined them into a single one battle world where all the survivors lived. Whatever they wind up doing for the movie version of Secret Wars, it won't be exactly like the comics, but you'll see a lot of Easter eggs and references to those both 80s and the more modern version of Secret Wars. Like I said, they still have a couple years to introduce the Doctor Doom character if they do want to use God Emperor Doom as the main villain of Secret Wars, but they could just as easily use a completely different villain. Either way, we're starting to get really close to Avengers 5 coming out, so they need to start teasing it in some of their post-credit scenes the next couple of years. Probably Deadpool 3 will be like the first big place that they do that. I've already done a bunch of videos about all the footage that we've gotten from Deadpool 3. It all looks amazing. It is going to be the craziest movie ever, so as much as a downer as all this Jonathan Majors stuff is, at least there is Deadpool 3 to look forward to. Everyone post all your reactions in the comments below, and if they do, just straight up recast Jonathan Majors with another actor to play different Kang variants, or a bunch of different actors to play different Kang variants, let me know in the comments who you want that new person to be. What's happening next is that the What If Season 2 episodes are starting this week. I'll be doing episode videos for that, so make sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of those. I do not expect to see Kang during any of those, but I don't think that has anything to do with what happened with Jonathan Majors. I think they just didn't use a lot of Kang in it just to begin with, because it sounds like they started working on What If Season 2 before Loki Season 1 came out, so they haven't even really decided what they were going to do with the Kang character at that time. Any of the big new X-Men, Fantastic Four stuff, even Deadpool stuff showing up in animation, the Marvel animated stuff, probably wouldn't be till like What If Season 3 or like after X-Men 97. And what they'll probably do is just remove all mention of Kang in the next couple of years worth of movies that aren't absolutely essential. Like you just will not hear characters talking about Kang or the Council of Kangs at all. It really does seem like Marvel is hanging a lot of its hats on Deadpool 3 right now. Like Kevin Feige was just spotted at Wrexham at a game with Ryan Reynolds and all of his people. But there is a lot of really big stuff to look forward to, like X-Men 97 episodes. I've already done a teaser video for that, so I'll link it below in the description. So do not be surprised if, given all the drama that's happened recently, Marvel starts to pivot heavily towards X-Men and Fantastic Four characters. Everyone click here to learn what's going on with Deadpool 3 for all those teasers, all the footage that came out, and then click here for my new What If Season 2 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.